أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم مصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Hello everyone, welcome to the Tadabbur on the Quran. We are at the second level and today is our 16th week. We're gonna have the rest of chapter 79, Surah An-Nāzi, which we had a part of it last week. Today we're gonna have verses 27 to 46. Um, we had two paragraphs of it last week, verses 1 to 26, and today we're gonna have the rest of this chapter. So I think some of you still have their microphone on. Please mute your microphone. Thank you so much. And so, okay, today we're gonna have the rest of this chapter. Let's have a quick review on this chapter. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والنازعات غرقا والناشطات نشطا والسابحات سبحا فالسابقات سبقا فالمدبرات أمرا يوم ترجف الراجفة تتبعها الرادفة قلوب يومئذ واجفة أبصارها خاشعة يقولون أئنا لمردودون في الحافرة أئذا كنا عظاما نخرة قالوا تلك إذا كرة خاسرة فإنما هي زجرة واحدة فإذا هم بالساهرة. So the first paragraph and the first verses of this chapter include some surahs and then the answer of those surahs and describing the situation of deniers on that day, that they were surprised by seeing their body that is recreated again and they are sitting in their grave and they are saying that are we really being returned to the life after we have been decayed bones. So the first part, which was the sewer, got sewered by those angels who move away while they are under domination, and by those who undertake eagerly. They want to do their mission eagerly, and they are very happy to doing God's order, and they are moving very fast, and their movement is kind of similar to gliding or swimming, and they are going straight, not going to the left or right, like just going straight and swiftly. That is the meaning of sabha. And they are in a kind of a race. They are trying to do it very fast because they are happy and they like their mission, and they are doing it similar to a race. And they want to manage all of the affairs, which is based on the rest of this paragraph. We can see that it's related to the day of resurrection, to prepare everything for that judgment, for the final judgment. And that situation God swore to these angels to emphasize on an important concept. What is that concept? It's in the verses 8 and 9, that the heart will tremble on that day and their eyes will be downcast. And when they are returned to the life, they will look at themselves, they will look at their body, and they look at the grave, and they are surprised and they are saying, are we being returned to life in grave? After we have been decayed bones, they are surprised. When the Prophet Muhammad recited these verses, those people started making joke of him, and they said that really, then in this situation, that would be a losing return. They make fun of it, and then God warned them that when it's gonna happen, it'll be only one shout, and then you will suddenly be alert on a wide expanse. So this was the first paragraph, and main point in the first paragraph was warning about the fear and embarrassment of the deniers in the day of resurrection. So God is very kind to us, although we and also those people that we keep forgetting the day of resurrection, and those deniers keep making joke of it and deny it, but God is still sending those verses to warn them, to tell them that you'll be embarrassed on that day. Your eyes will be downcast, and it's a very difficult situation for you. You have to believe in it now. You have time in this life to go to the path of God. So that was the first paragraph. And after that, God started telling a part of the Moses story to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to remind those people that if you are actually, if you believe that because of your power and your wealth you can stand against God, you can stand against the destiny, you can change the end of the world, you have to know that there was someone named Pharaoh, and you were nothing compared to his wealth and his power. But I punished him severely, and I will punish you for, of course, and if you do the same stuff. So this was the actually the second paragraph, a quick review on a part of the Moses story. As I mentioned, the Moses story are mentioned in different chapters in Quran, and based on each chapter and based on what we need to hear about that story, God mentioned a part of it. And but like most of it is mentioned in Surah Al-Taha and Surah Al-Baqarah, which you can read those if you want to know more about it, based on the need and based on the situation that it was in the society, and based on the main concept in each chapter. God actually mentioned only a part of the story of each prophet to remind us that the same situation happened to the other prophets. People did the same. They were trying to deny, making joke, bothering the prophets, killing them, and they are still doing the same, and they have to know that they will be punished. So the second paragraph. Let's have a quick review on that. هل أتاك حديث موسى إذ ناداه ربه بالواد المقدس طوى اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى فقل هل لك إلى أن تزكى وأهديك إلى ربك فتخشى فأراه الآية الكبرى فكذب وعصى ثم أدبر يسعى فحشر فنادى فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى إن في ذلك العبرة لمن يخشى. So God is talking to the prophet and telling the prophet, has there come to you the story of Moses when his Lord called to him in the sacred valley of Toa, go to Pharaoh, indeed he has transgressed, and say to him, would you like to be purified? And I guide you to your Lord, then you may fear him. Then he showed him the greatest sign. Then he, Pharaoh, denied and disobeyed. Then he turned back, striving to plot. Then he gathered his people and called out. Then he said, I am your Lord, the most exalted. So God seized him with exemplary punishment in the hereafter and the life and the first life. Indeed, there is a lesson in this for those who fear God. So it was a short part of the Moses and Pharaoh story, and the main goal of this paragraph was the punishment for Pharaoh in the world and the hereafter, and the punishment for all transgressors, those people who follow the same path, those people who follow Pharaoh, and they are actually a tiny version of Pharaoh. They have to know that they will be punished. So if you have any question on these two paragraphs, please ask your questions. Then we will go to the rest of this chapter. Nothing? Okay, so we heard about the story of Pharaoh, but the point is each human potentially can be Pharaoh. Each of us can be a Pharaoh if we have the same wealth and the same power. And as each human can potentially be Pharaoh, God is inviting all of us to study about the nature, to study about the creation world, and compare ourselves with the other creatures, and witness on this important fact that we are nothing. We are nothing compared to the other creatures. And we have to know that if we follow the same path of Pharaoh, and if we believe that we are a tiny Lord, then we have to know that we'll be punished severely. What does it mean that we think we are a tiny lord? Well, Pharaoh, because of his power and his wealth, he thought that he has control on many things. And he said, أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى, I am your exalted Lord. I am the Lord. And actually, he told his people, even I am worried about you. Moses is here to mislead you, and I am trying to help you. I am your exalted Lord, and you have to follow my path and this stuff. Well, the point is, Pharaoh is not only one person. Specifically in Quran, Pharaoh is not described as only one person or only as a story that is gone and this stuff. Pharaoh is a character, and it's the tiny version of Pharaoh is inside each of us, and we can potentially be Pharaoh if we have the same wealth and the same power. And you can see it in this world right now. If you check the news, the way that some people talk, specifically those millionaires, specifically those people who have the control over a country, those who are in the politics and this stuff, the way that they talk about this stuff, the way that they want to control their country or other countries, and the way that they express this stuff, it's obviously a version of Pharaoh. This is a modern version of the Pharaoh that they believe they have control over everything. I believe they are even more than Pharaoh in this concept that we are the Lord. We can control everything. We decide for this. We decide for that. So this sickness is not only limited to the Pharaoh and Pharaoh time. It's for the human being, and it's about the human nature. And this is a dangerous sickness. So in this paragraph, in the third paragraph, after the second paragraph told us the story of the Pharaoh and how God punished him, and it was kind of a warning. And now in the third paragraph, God is still trying to heal this sickness and warn people that if you believe that you are something and you can control something, then look at these creatures and compare yourself with those stuff. So it starts with this verse. أأنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها? Verse 27. What? Are you stronger in creation or the sky in creation or the sky? He established it. So and Tom, what? It's like kind of surprising. What? Do you think you are something? Are you stronger in creation or the sky? He established it. So look at the sky and how magnificent it is, and compare yourself with that. You are nothing compared to this sky. Sky is only one of my creation. And رَفَعَ سَمْكَهَا فَسَوَّاهَا. Although it's that huge and it's that big, but it's still under my control. I created that sky and I am controlling it. And I designed everything about that sky. God is saying that رَفَعَ سَمْكَهَا فَسَوَّاهَا. He raised its sailing, then proportioned it. God raised the sailing of this sky. The sailing of sky means like that is above us and we can see it, and God is telling us that there is no end for it. And I raised it. It's been lifted up, and you cannot reach to the end of this sky, and it's huge. And this sky with this huge dimension and with this magnificent creation, it's still my creatures, and I control it and I created it. وَأَغْدَشَ لَيْلَهَا وَأَخْرَجَ ضُحَاهَا. And he darkened its night and brought forth its brightness, or the daytime. God is telling us that I designed this sky. I made it dark during the night, and I made it light during the daytime. And all of these things, it means that sky is under my control, and you are nothing compared to it. وَالْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ دَحَاهَا. And the earth, after that, he spreaded it out. So that first part of the verse 27, you have to apply it at the beginning of the verse 30, because there is and at the beginning of it, and that and linked the verse 30 to the verse 27. So I have to say أأنتم أشد خلقا أم الأرض بعد ذلك دحاها. So I have to translate it like this. What? Are you stronger in creation or the earth? After that, he spreaded it out. So this verse is inviting us to compare ourselves with the earth this time. The previous verses was comparing us with the sky. Now this one is comparing us with the earth. So compare yourself with the earth. You are nothing compared to it. I spreaded it out and I made it ready for your life. أخرج منها ماءها ومرعاها. He brought forth from it its water and its pasture. So everything on this earth is designed by God. God made it ready for our life, and God brought forth from it the water and the pasture, and it's all of it is under His control, and it's His design about this earth. وَالْجَبَالَ أَرْسَاهَا. And the mountains, he set them firm. So again, the first part of the verse 27 should be applied at the verse 32. Why? Because there is va, there is and at the beginning of it. When there is and, it means that there is a link between this one and the concept that it was before that. So I have to say, أَأَنْتُمْ أَشَدُّ خَلْقًا أَمِ الْجَبَالَ أَرْسَاهَا. The translation is this. What? Are you stronger in creation or the mountains? He set them firm. So all of these verses together is inviting us to compare ourselves with three magnificent creation, the sky, the earth, and the mountains. And of course, we are nothing compared to those stuff. And if someone believes that he is the Lord and he can do something, he has to think about the sky. Do you have any control over the sky? Do you have any control over the earth? Do you have any control on them about the mountains? Yeah, we may can build some building on the earth. We may do something about the mountains. We may go to the sky and fly or go to the space, but it doesn't mean we have a control over it. We have no control over any of this stuff. And of course, we are a tiny part of this creation world. So all of these stuff that God created, now He is kindly telling us one important fact. مَتَاعًا لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُمْ. So you poor people, that if you have a little wealth and a little power, you believe you are the Lord, you have to know that all of these huge creations that I created, it's my kindness that I provided for you as an enjoyment or provision for you and for your livestock. So I provided all of these things for you because I am kind to you and I am generous, and I provided all of these things and I have control over all of these things. So these are my creation, and I created them for you as an enjoyment for you and for your livestock. When it says that I created them for you, it doesn't mean that there is no purpose in the creation of the other things and they are specifically created for us. I will talk about it later in other chapters, but specifically here, I want to briefly mention that when God's saying that I created these creations for you, for human, it means that you can partly control some of them and use them in your life. Not they are like nothing and there is no purpose in their creation and they are and everything is only for the human. No, it means that I gave human a tiny authority over these stuff to use them in their life. Like they can go to space, they can fly, they can use this earth, and they can extract oil, they can extract mineral, or like they can build their buildings, their house on this earth. These are something that God gave us, and this is again His kindness for the human. So this paragraph actually got sent down. So we want to review those three main questions that we usually have at the end of each paragraph. Why did God send down these verses? Because he wanted to invite us to think about our poverty, to think about our creation, and compare ourselves to this creation world, and witness over our creation, and to show us that how poor we are. We are needy, we are poor, and everything is from him, and he kindly provided everything for us. So that is the reason that God sent down these verses, because human being potentially can be each human potentially can be a pharaoh, and people are heedless about their weaknesses, about their poverty, and God is showing us his huge creation world to tell us that you are nothing compared to this, and you have no control over them. And this was the steps that God took to heal this illness. What was that illness? That we can be a pharaoh, that we can be heedless about our creation and about other creations. And God took this step, invite us to think about the nature and compare ourselves with that. And the main goal of this paragraph was confronting human selfishness, inviting the human to compare himself with the creation world. So if you have any question about this paragraph, please, you can ask your question, then we can go to the next paragraph. Okay. Next paragraph is after inviting us about this study. God is describing that difficult situation in the day of resurrection. That is very important. That is the most important point in our life. And it's about an endless life. Whatever that we are doing in this life is affecting our endless life on the other side. And if God is inviting us to study about the nature, if He is telling us the story of Pharaoh and Musa, all of these things about is preparing us for that specific day, for the day of resurrection. So now again, God is describing briefly the day of resurrection. فإذا جاءت التامة الكبرى, but when there comes the greatest overwhelming calamity, يوم يتذكر الإنسان ما سعى, the day when the human will remember that for which he strove. During this life, we are trying to do many things. We are running for different stuff. We are trying really hard. We are striving really hard for everything in our life. And on that time, when we are back to the life, when we are recreated, and when that greatest overwhelming calamity, which means the day of resurrection, when it happens, then all of these things that we are doing in our life, it will be like a movie in front of us, and we can see all of it. And when we can remember, we tried for many things in our life. وَبُرِّزَتِ الْجَحِيمُ لَمَنْ يَرَى, and then in that situation hellfire will be exposed for those who see. Then in that situation people can see the hellfire. We cannot see it now. We are kind of blind about the other life. We don't know. We have some information about it. We know something about it, but we cannot see it in person. But in that situation, when that a huge event happened, then we will be reminded about everything that we did in this life. Then we will see the hellfire. And then in that situation, people will be divided into two groups. فَأَمَّا مَنْ طَغَى, and but as for he who transgressed, those people who transgressed, وَأَثَرَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا, and preferred the life of the world, فَإِنَّ الْجَحِيمَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى, then indeed hellfire will be his abode. So for the first group, they are the group of the transgressors. Why did they transgress? Because they preferred this life. They had kind of a worldly lifestyle, and they preferred this life, and they were like, okay, as long as I am on this earth, I can enjoy my life. Who can say that there is another life? And I don't want to sacrifice my life only based on some verses that is telling us there is going to be another life. I want to enjoy my life. So they preferred this life. They preferred this life, and because of that, they broke all of those law and they transgressed. So because of that, فَإِنَّ الْجَحِيمَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى, then indeed hellfire will be his abode. So that was their choice. They preferred this life. They preferred to enjoy it, and they didn't want to sacrifice their temporary life in this world about for only some verses that is telling us about the other life. That is the story of the first group, and the other group, وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى. But as for he who feared the dignity of his Lord and prevented the soul from evil desire. So the dignity of the Lord, it means that they believe that God is exalted, and they were fearful of his dignity, and they because of that, they was like, even if there is a tiny percent that there is gonna be another life, I have to be careful. I have to be fearful. Of course, I can enjoy my life now, and there are many things to use in this life. And but what if there is another life? So that was their ideology. They were like, there might be another life and I have to be fearful. What if these verses are true? What if this prophet is telling the truth? And because of that, they were fearful of their Lord, and they tried to stop themselves from doing anything wrong. So they prevented the soul from those evil desired, and hawa means those desired that continuously something inside of us talking to us and inviting us to do this, to enjoy that one, to go to that party, to eat this one, to wear this clothes. Something is talking to us continuously and inviting us to those desires. This person, because he was fearful of God, tried to stop himself, tried to prevent the soul from doing those desires. فإن الجنة هي المأوى. So because of that, because he was fearful, then indeed paradise will be his abode. So both group, they decided for themselves. The first one, he didn't stop actually his desires. He didn't prevent it, and he listened to all of those desires. He listened to himself, that when something inside that person was inviting him to do everything and enjoy your life, this person was positive about it, and he actually transgressed. He broke all of the laws, and he preferred this life, this temporary life, and he made this decision for his life. And on the other side, the other group was fearful, and they decided to stand against these evil desires. So the reason that God sent down this paragraph was warning people. People were heedless about that greatest overwhelming calamity. فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ التَّامَّةُ الْكُبْرَى. God is telling us about that overwhelming calamity, about the day of resurrection. People were heedless of it. Now God is telling us about that briefly, describe it for us, and then telling us about those two groups, that of course you will be divided based on your decisions in this life. As you have different decision in this life, on the other life you'll be divided based on your decision. God took this step to warn people about that situation, and the main goal of this paragraph is this: hellfire is the abode of the transgressors, and the paradise is the abode of fearful people. So if you have any question on the fourth paragraph, please ask your question, then we can go to the last paragraph. Okay, let's go to the last paragraph. After all of these verses, when God warned people in the first paragraph and swear to the angels, and then at the second paragraph, God told us the story of Pharaoh and Musa. At the third paragraph, God warned us because we potentially can be a Pharaoh. God warned us and invited us to study about the nature. And then he described the situation in the day of resurrection. After all of these verses, which everyone should be convinced now, everyone should be fearful now, everyone should say, yes, that is very important, and I have to be prepared for that situation. After all of these verses, then these people still trying to deny it, this time with this method. يسألونك عن الساعة أيان مرساها. They ask you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the hour. When is its arrival? So after all of these verses, they are still trying to deny, but this time by asking the question about the hour. How do I know that it's a denial question? Because of the ayana. Ayana is a question word to bring the that it's not a actual real question, to bring this concept that it's kind of a making joke of it. And so tell us when it's gonna happen, like this. Not, it's not a real question, this ayana. It's not about that. So after all of these verses, which we were expecting to hear from them that, yes, you are right, and we're going to listen to you, and this is stuff which never happened during the history of human, they were still, they always try to find another reason to reject the day of resurrection. This time they asked the prophet, okay, if you are really talking about it, and if you are honestly a messenger, and if you know about that the day of resurrection and this stuff, so tell us when is its arrival. And now God is answering. The prophet is not answering this question. Okay, now there are some verses from God, and God is answering this question. Let's listen to it. First, فيما أنت من ذكراها. The first one is talking to the prophet. First, God is telling the prophet that in what position are you to mention it? This one is apparently talking to the prophet, but it's actually telling people that you are wrong about the position of the prophet. The prophet is not the one who make decision about the time of the actually the day of resurrection. He doesn't know about it. He is a prophet. He is a reminder. He is my messenger, and he is just talking to you about that situation and inviting you and warning you. That's it. You are confused about his position. And if you are asking him this question, you have to know that you are wrong. And this is not the position of the prophet to talk to you about this. So the first one, فِيمَ أَنْتَ مِنْ ذِكْرَهَا. In what position are you to mention it? It's talking to the prophet apparently, but actually answering the question of those people that you are wrong. This is not the position of the prophet. The prophet is not allowed to talk about this stuff. إِلَى رَبِّكَ مُنْتَهَاهَا. The second answer, or the second part of the answer, to your Lord is its finality. It's only under his control, and only and only and only God knows about the day of about the time of the day of resurrection. No one can tell you when it's gonna happen. It's only on God, and he is the only one who knows about it. So to your Lord is its finality. The third part of the answer, إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُنذِرُ مَنْ يَخْشَاهَا. Again, talking to the prophet, you are only a warner for those who fear it. As I mentioned, again, it's talking to the prophet, but it's telling us the answer that you have to know that this prophet is only a warner. You are confused about his position, and you are asking him the question that he doesn't know it, and this is not his position to answer that kind of a question. And the time of the day of resurrection is only on me, and I am the only one who knows about it. And you have to know that this prophet is only a warner, and he is only inviting us to be fearful of God and change your lifestyle and be prepared for that situation. كأنهم يوم يرونها لم يلبثوا إلا عشية أو ضحاها. And the last part of the answer, and actually the last verse of this chapter, you have to know that if you are looking for the date of that situation, you have to know that it's not important when it's gonna happen. The important thing is this: when it happened and when you are looking at it, it will seem on that day when they see it. That is the important part. When you see it, it will seem they had not remained except for an afternoon or a morning. When it happened, when you look at it, when you can see it, then it will seem that your life was nothing except a part of an afternoon or a morning. So it means that instead of being worried, so instead of being worried about the date of the resurrection day, instead of being worried about when it's gonna happen, you have to know that when it's happening, when you look at it, it seems that you were not in this life except a short time. It means that your life, all of it, this will appear to you as a part of a day, an afternoon, or a morning. This verse may refer to actually the whole life, like your whole life. When it's gone, when you look at it, it seems that it was only a part of a day. It was only an afternoon or a morning. It was only a part of a day. It was very short. It seems very short to you. But this verse can refer to this, or it can refer to the time between the death and the final resurrection. And it may be referred to this part. Both can be correct. Generally, it means that you don't need to be worried about when it's gonna happen. You have to know that it's gonna happen, and when it happens, your life will seem very short to you, and then your endless life will start. So in this paragraph, the reason that God sent down this paragraph was the question of the denier. They asked the prophet that when is its arrival, when it's the time of the resurrection day. So because they asked this question after all of those verses that God was trying to guide them and lead them and warn them, after all of those things, they again asked this question, and God sent down these verses to answer to their question. But God didn't say that when it's gonna happen. Instead of that, he told them that you are confused about the position of the prophet. I am the only one who knows about the date of the resurrection day, and this prophet is only warner. And when the day of resurrection happen, your whole life will appear to you very short, and you feel like you were on this earth in only a part of a day. And the main goal of this paragraph was the answer to the denial question about the date of the day of resurrection. And so if you have any question on this paragraph, please ask your question, then we can start the conclusion of this chapter. So let's have the conclusion part. We had 5 paragraphs, and the first paragraph was warning about the day of resurrection. God swore to those angels and told us that the day of resurrection will happen. And when people are recreated and they are sitting in their grave, they are surprised, and it's a very difficult situation. And the eyes will be downcast on that situation. You'll be embarrassed and this stuff. So God warned us in the first paragraph about the day of resurrection. In the second paragraph, God told us the story of Pharaoh and Moses to tell us that if you believe you are something and you can stand against God and you can stand against the destiny that He decided about us. You have to know that Pharaoh was very wealthy and very powerful, but I punished him, and I will do the same for all transgressors. And then the third paragraph, God invited human to study about the nature, about the world creation, and compare himself with all of these creatures to see that he is nothing compared to them, and he cannot say that I am Lord, because each of us can be a tiny pharaoh. And God confronting human selfishness in the third paragraph. And then at the fourth paragraph, God described that overwhelming calamity and told us that you'll be divided into two groups based on your decisions in this life. If you prefer this life, this temporary life, and if you enjoyed this life and if you transgress, you will be punished and the hellfire will be your abode. And but if you are fearful and you choose to stand against your evil desires, then you'll be rewarded on the other life, and the paradise will be your abode. So this was the fourth paragraph, and then at the fifth paragraph, God answered to the denial question after all of these verses that any thoughtful person should be fearful after these four paragraphs, but people were still trying to deny, and they asked a denial question, and God provided the answer in the fifth paragraph. So all of these together make the main goal of this chapter. All of them together was a confrontation with transgressors and inviting them to be fearful. All of it together is telling us that you have to be fearful about that situation. You're going to have a difficult situation in the day of resurrection. And those who are transgressor, they have to know that they will be punished in this life and the other life. So it was the main goal of this chapter. God sent down this chapter because people were heedless of this difficult situation in the day of resurrection, and they were trying to deny it, and because they were worldly and because they liked this worldly life, and because they preferred this temporary life, they denied all of the God's law and they transgressed, and God sent down this chapter to invite them to be fearful and to actually to stand against those evil desires inside themselves, and be prepared for the other life, which is our main life. And it's very important that we have to be prepared in this short life for that endless life. There are many chapters similar to this chapter that they're all trying to warn us in different way, in different languages, in different I mean by different methods. By different methods, by different words, to invite us to be thoughtful about the day of resurrection. If we break this law, and if we ignore God's order and then we'll be punished, of course, on this life. But all of these chapters together are trying to invite us from different point of view, because it's a very important concept and it's a very fundamental concept in Islam. And um, if someone believe in the day of resurrection, if someone believe in the day of judgment, then of course they will follow the other, they will follow the orders, and then they will believe that this short life, this temporary life, is nothing, and they can go through all of those difficulties in this life to have a better life on the other side. So let's listen to the recitation of this chapter, then you can ask your question. Let me stop the recording.